Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Green and White, brought to you by Argyle Life. Something a little different for your ears today, as I'm joined by Argyle women's manager Ryan Perks and winger Katie Dickson to discuss their season, the international stars in their ranks. We've had quite a few called up for England and Ireland. The upcoming Devon Cup final on Friday against them up the road. And I'm sure we'll discuss the side moving from the community trust control to that of the club, obviously with Brickfields and the developments there. But before we get into this one, we know that our coverage of the women's side is lacking somewhat. So if you're watching this and you follow the fortunes of the ladies and you fancy doing some writing or jumping on podcasts, please do let us know. Drop us a DM and we'll get you involved. But anyway, we'll get on to the pod. Cheers. Pleased to be joined by Argyle women's manager Ryan Perks, and I've got you down as a winger, Katie. That's what you said in your intro, but I know you've played at fullback a lot recently. But I'll call you a winger. Is what you described yourself as. But anyway, how are you, Ryan? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. I'm just looking forward to this weekend and hopefully bringing back the County Cup up to Plymouth.
Yeah, we'll get into that one in a bit. Obviously, a busy weekend, 2 games in 3 days. And Katie, you all good?
Yeah, all good. Just preparing for the big weekend. It's going to be tough enough, I think.
Yeah, well, I won't keep you too long. As we mentioned, you've got training after this, so hopefully it's a light session if you've got 2 games in 3 days. But we'll let Ryan decide that one later. But obviously, Kate, we'll start with you. You joined in September 2022 over from Linfield in Northern Ireland. Hopefully, I've got that right. Anyway, how have you found your time in Plymouth, and more specifically being at Argyle?
Yeah, to be honest, I've absolutely loved it. The girls were so welcoming as soon as I came over, which was so nice, because obviously moving away from home, it's not the easiest thing at times, especially when you're 18 years old. It's tough enough. But as soon as I got there, the girls were so welcoming. And to be honest, it's probably the most I've enjoyed my football throughout my whole career. So it's been really positive, and I'm still absolutely loving it.
It's good to hear. I think it's been a decent season on the whole. You currently sat in 9th in the Women's National League and getting to the 4th round of the FA Cup, including a 13-0 win over Ilminster Town. It's not too bad. A dramatic penalty shootout win against Oxford United. And on top of that, a Devon Cup final on the horizon. We'll get into that one. But obviously, Ryan, a nice open-ended question, but can you just sum up the season as a whole so far and how it's been for you?
Yeah, for me, obviously, it was a bit of a difficult start. We had a bit of unavailability with players away. Katie was one of them, so it's Katie's fault we started poor. Now I'm joking. We had obviously a lot of change in the summer. Brought in some players left, so took a little bit while for the team to settle down. But overall, really positive season. Really, we finished the season with 2 wins. We can probably finish 7th in the league. So we had our own targets as a team at the start of the season, and we're not far off that. Overall, really pleased. Little bit of a what if for me. I think what people don't realise is the players aren't paid at this football club with the women's team currently. So availability has been a bit up and down, which does impact, I think, sometimes results when we haven't got players available all the time. But that's part of where we're in our journey at the minute, and hopefully that will progress and change with the transition over to the club from the summer. So yeah, overall really positive season though for me.
Yeah, we'll get into obviously coming into the club in a bit, but obviously personally I feel like watching on, and I need to give yourself some credit that I maybe previously haven't, in the fact that it seems like incrementally year on year, we're eking up that league table somewhat, and it's been made. Progress is being made slowly but surely. Is that still the long-term plan, even when we, come under the club? Is it just those 1% gains every game?
Yeah, 100%. It's going to take time, isn't it? It's not going to be built overnight. There's lots of stuff going on off the field, which we need to get right first before we can get it right on the field. I think each year we've had that stepping stone, and it's getting better each season. We've got a very young, talented squad. And as long as we can keep that together, which is not always easy when you've got some big players, younger players playing at international level. We'll use Mia as an example, and she's got Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United all sniffing around, and we're trying to do our best to keep that level of player at the club. So yeah, as long as we can keep the core of this team together, I'm really optimistic of where we can go as a football club. And like you say, having the expertise moving under the club moving forward is going to help that as well.
Katie, what are your personal highlights from this season?
One of the
Apart
main
from
things
working with me, Katie, obviously, all right? Apart from working
yeah,
with me.
of course. One of the main things that I think I've really loved is how much the team environment has grown over the season. I think compared to last season, I think it's been massively improved. Decisions were made by the staff and some players left, etc. And we all sort of doubted it at times. And we weren't really sure what was going to happen. But when you look at where we are now and the mentality that we have in the team, it's probably the best that I've ever been a part of. And the team's also close as a group. And I think that's like probably the main thing that's allowed us to push on and progress this season in comparison to last season. Like some of the results we've picked up, especially from being behind, just shows how much character that we have in the squad. And it is, as Ryan said, such a young team. So I hope only in the years to come that it'll just progress on from that.
Yeah, I think putting it somewhat politely, that there are certain teams in a few years ago that were, should we say, spanking us, and now we seem to be getting credible results against. So, like I said, it's those incremental gains. Is that the same aspirations for you then as well next season, Katie? Just to kick on, climb the league?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at this season, we've let ourselves down against some of the poorer sides, and I think if we pick up points in those games, like we're looking at being mid-table, pushing up for the top half of the table. So it's just about those little percentages, and hopefully with commitment levels improving and things. Obviously, next season going under the men's club, the professionalism is going to have to go up. So I think that'll only push us in the right direction.
Yeah, right. And you've already mentioned some of those internationals. We've seen Mia Endicott, Taya, Freya Weeks, Erin O'Shea. I could go on for ages now. It seems like they're all called up for their international sides. I suppose how great is it as a manager for you to see them all head off abroad to represent their countries? And I assume that's the ambition, to keep churning out those talents from the pathway.
Yeah, 100%. It's I think it's massive really for where we are as a club. Even with our player pathway, we have limited contact time with players. We only get an hour and 15 minutes with each age group, which is mad when we go and play teams like Aston Villa and Man United, who have got 9 hours a week with their under 16s and under 14s, and we can compete with them. And yeah, the conveyor belt's going to go on for years. By the looks of it, we've got an under 10 who's probably the best talent I've seen at this football club at a young age. She's unbelievable, some of the stuff she does. So yeah, it's just down to us to keep them here now, which is not the easiest. But yeah, there's a massive conveyor belt at this football club, and actually I'm quite proud of how we've grown over the years. And if I'm being brutally honest, I probably took the job on the women's team at the time with that in mind of what was coming through. Obviously, heading up the pathway, I sort of known the players who would be coming through, and I've sort of tried to convince the other players and a few of the more experienced players to trust me. And I think the last 2 years, especially with the girls and the quality of players coming through, obviously Mary coming in and moved on to Bristol City. She was a godsend and took the league by storm. And the likes of Taya and Mia coming in, Georgie Knott, Lily in goal now. It's evident that we've got a very successful pathway, and players are deciding to stay here. A few of the younger girls had opportunities to move on to, say, some bigger teams in the women's game, and they've decided to stay with us, which is fantastic for us, and shows that we're moving in the right direction. So yeah, really pleasing, and like you say, that's part of where we're at as a club at the minute. Is we do rely on players coming through, but they've got to be at the right level. We've got a very good squad here now, so it's going to get more and more difficult for those players coming through.
Katie, yourself, you've obviously represented Northern Ireland at multiple youth levels. I assume that you've got ambitions for the big call up for the first team squad. Is that something you think you can achieve here?
Yeah, obviously, it's natural to want to achieve that, and obviously coming up through the youth ranks, it was always an aim of mine. Now that I'm at uni, it is maybe not as in the full front, like not my
Right.
main focus at the minute, but it's always been a dream of mine, and it would be an honour to be able to do it. It's just about getting that, people seeing you, getting recognised. So I'd love to be able to do it, and the league standard here is a high level, so I don't have any reason as to why not within this team.
From a player's perspective, how much does it lift? How much of a lift does it give the whole squad when you see others head off on international duty, the likes of Mia and Taya and such?
Yeah, it's massive. It shows the talent that we have within the squad, and I think sometimes maybe we don't notice it because we train with them all the time. But obviously, when they're getting recognised by their international squad, like, it does give us a big boost, and it does lift our mentality and our confidence that we are playing at a high level and that we're able to produce these players.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, Ryan, big milestone hit recently, the big 100. Lee Williamson's asked, recently it's been Ryan's 100th match in charge and nearly 4 years at the helm. How has it been for you over the years, and how does it feel to have been in the job so long?
To be fair, like, something I'm really proud of. It's been a stressful 4 years, to be honest. Lots of transition. I've got a few more grey hairs, I think. But yeah, like, I'm a Plymouth Argyle fan, always have been, from Plymouth. So it's a massive honour to get 100 games in charge at the football club, and hopefully can get many more in the future years. And like you say, it's just a big honour to do it, and something I am proud of.
Yeah, what's he really like as a manager, Katie?
Tough question, but no. No, I would say honest at times. I think he says it how you need to hear it, which some managers don't do. I've experienced in the past. They sort of like say one thing to your face and they say something else behind your back. But I think throughout my time here, Ryan's been honest with me the whole time, and even last season when I maybe wasn't playing as much as I wanted to, he still gives you that confidence even if you're sat on the bench. So yeah, he's been massive for me, and really helped me in my journey. So
nice. You can tell. You give me the honest answer once he's gone.
Yeah.
Obviously, from next season, as you've already mentioned, you'll be brought back under the banner of the club itself, instead of the community trust. Can you just explain to listeners, Ryan, what that really means and what will change?
If I'm honest, at the moment, there's lots of talks going on. So for my role is going to go full time. So I'll just, instead of doing the whole pathway like I do now, my role will go full time as women's head coach from 1st of July. So obviously that gives me more time to focus on developing the squad, working with some of the younger players during the day as well. As a squad, I'm not sure, if I'm honest. I don't know if we're going to get a budget to pay players or not. It's lots of discussions going on behind the scenes. That's somewhere where we want to get to. It's been made clear that our ambition is to try and get in the championship within the next 3 to 5 years. Do I think that's achievable? Yes, 100%, as long as we can keep players here and attract some players. And obviously with Brickfields, in probably the development going to be done in the next 16 to 18 months, we're going to be in a good place. We're going to have a permanent base rather than being pulled from pillar to post like we have been this season, especially. And just having the resources around the club. So just being able to go in and watch the men's first team training for myself. I've been in the last couple of weeks pretty much every day with the men's team, and just being around people like Nance and learning off him has been brilliant for my own development. And like you say, the resources we've got at the football club's unbelievable. It's a very well run football club. Andrew and the team do a great job behind the scenes, and being able to use that, like the commercial team, the marketing team, the social media elements and stuff, making things more visible, and the women's team out there is going to be massive to help us grow. And like you say, it's just to give us the best environment to help the players develop and be successful, really.
Yeah, it feels like the women's side of the game is starting to boom, and it feels like if we can ride that wave at the right time, like you said, and use those people that we've got at the club correctly, then we should be able to ride that. Obviously, you mentioned being pushed from pillar to post from the mill into a point to Coach Road, etc. How much of a difference will that make, having a settled home in Plymouth without having to make those trips?
I just think for us, it'd be easy to grow the fan base. Obviously, we want to play in Plymouth. We're Plymouth Argyle. We don't want to be playing in Newton Abbot or Tor Point. We want to be playing in Plymouth. So I think that's vitally important moving forward. I think, to be fair, that it's been brilliant at Coach Road. The staff up there look after us pretty well. The facilities are lovely, but travelling 45 minutes for a home game is not ideal, if I'm being brutally honest. And I think Katie will vouch for me there as well. So just like you say, being back into Plymouth and growing that fan base is really important to us.
I said it takes nearly 45 minutes to get to Tor Point if you miss the ferry. So it's no closer, really, is it? Obviously, Katie, I've not got to as many games as I'd like to this season, but the games I have got to, it seems like the attendances are starting to pick up. How much of a difference does it make having fans there supporting you? And obviously, Ryan says we really want to grow that fan base, but how important is it?
Yeah, it is really important to us. When we get a good turnout, like, it does just boost the motivation levels a little bit. I think we are a hugely motivated team as it is by itself, but when you have those fans cheering you on, just giving you that little bit of extra encouragement, it keeps you fighting. And I think we had a game at Margil this year against Hashtag, and we had a really good turnout there, and we came back from 2-0 down to draw the game 2-2. So I think that shows that it gives you that little bit of an extra boost and that little bit of an extra fight.
Yeah. Ryan, you say about wanting to increase that fan base. What are the long-term plans to engage more supporters and grow that match attending fan base?
It's not going to be my job, to be honest. We're employing a head of operations, so a head of operations is going to come in. Obviously, that's going to be their role, is to grow the fan base. Just try like little things, like we've been quite active in the community. Obviously, we've done like the Christmas cracker to try and inspire those next generation of players, and it's just I feel having a permanent home and a stadium to call our own is going to be really important to help that, and people know where we are then. Like you said, it's not the easiest to find out where the women's games are and when the fixtures are, and there's lots of change with the games. If there's a game called off for the FA Cup, it takes priority over the league. So there is lots of chopping and changing in the fixture programme, which doesn't help the situation either. So like you say, just having that stable place to call home. Again, not only does it want to keep players here at the club, it also attracts players. If you've got your facilities are good and stuff, and you've got your own base and home, I think that's going to be massive for us moving forward.
Yeah, I think I said that to you before we started recording, but it just feels like the social media side of the women's game has improved, but there is that element of doubt of trying to arrange travel or whatever to fixtures, and it changes last minute. But as you say, it can't be helped. But
yeah, I think with that, like we've had a couple where we've been at Tor Point and the weather has been atrocious for the last 6 months. Has not helped. So we've gone on, had a pitch inspection. We've been proactive at times and booked free cheese just in case. So it's just trying to get those fixtures to go ahead, because like you say, Plymouth's not the closest place to anywhere, and we don't want teams travelling and wasting their time, and we don't want a situation where we're a bit like Plymouth Parkway and you've got 12 games in 6 weeks to try and squeeze in at the end of the season. So it's we've tried to be proactive, but it's not been helpful, because a last minute post, if you don't see it and you turn up at Tor Point, you're going to be a bit annoyed.
Yeah, I know that's happened to somebody I know, but they'll get over it. Talking about squeezing games in, obviously, 2 games in 3 days. Argyle have reached the Devon Women's Premier Cup final once again after beating Torquay United 4-0. Argyle will face old rivals Exeter City in the showpiece event on Friday. I've not read that from a press release. Obviously, they managed to get there by luck. They didn't have to win their semi. It feels like we play Exeter in the final every year, Ryan. So, and when I have been, there's been some questionable decisions that have gone against us. I think I was there, must be 2 years ago, when Amber was absolutely miles onside and scored, and it got ruled out. And to this day, is one of the worst calls I've ever seen. What's the plan to make sure we're lifting that trophy this year instead of them?
I just think for us, I think Katie will vouch for us last year. I think the build up to the game was overhyped. I try and play it down as much as I can. I'm not the biggest fan of the County Cup. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like Katie said, I'm quite honest and I'm quite vocal and open about the fact that it's not high up on my list. It's probably the lowest priority of the season for us. However, it is a cup final and we want to win it. So we do try and relay that to the players. But obviously, for a few of the old faces, it was massive. And the big rivalry with Exeter, we always want to beat Exeter. I'm sat here, like I say, I've said earlier, I'm a Plymouth Argyle fan. Not a massive lover of the team up the road, as we like to call them. Yeah, we want to win, and I'm really confident this year going into it, as long as we go in and play as well as we can, that we'll get a positive result. We beat them earlier in the season 4-1. I think we're a miles better team now than when we were earlier in the season. And Exeter again have had a fantastic season in their league and pushing for promotion, and wish them luck after Friday, but we want to get the job done and make it as difficult as possible on Friday for them.
Yeah, I mean, you can wish them luck if you want. I won't.
No,
Katie,
I was
do
lying,
you feel...
really. I was just trying to be nice.
Oh, fair enough. Do you feel like it can be our year, Katie? Do you have similar thoughts as Ryan, or are you playing it up in your head?
No, definitely. I think last year we all got a bit caught up in the occasion, more so of who we were playing. But this year, look, we have that match from last season under our belt. We have that experience of playing in a cup final, and I think as a team we're a lot more focused. We're a lot more calm about the situation. And talking to the girls last night at training, everyone's full of confidence. And I just know if we go out there and we play the football that we can play, and we don't get drawn into a fight with Exeter, like I have no doubt that we can win the match.
Yeah, obviously their lineup, Katie, could feature some familiar names that Argyle fans might know, such as Zoe Cunningham, Beth Ireland, Amber Pollock, Katie Grigg, to name a few. Does that add any extra spice to this, or not really?
Obviously, it adds a little bit of tension to it. Look, there were 3 of our good teammates last season, and they were friends last season. But when we step out in the pitch on Friday night, it's just a match, and it's going up against them. We know what they can do with the ball, and we're very much aware of the threats that they pose. But I'm confident in our team and in our squad that we can deal with that.
Yeah, nice. Ryan, can you give us any team news that you can share with us? So I assume we're full strength. Have we got anybody missing? You said that sometimes that people are.
Yeah, I think the only player missing is Rosie McDonald. So she's missed probably 90% of the season. So she's on a course with the Navy and she's doing very well. We was hoping she was going to fail it a bit quicker, but she hasn't. So she's done really well. So obviously she's not going to be available. Probably won't see Rosie back until next season, hopefully, dependent on how her course goes. And that's it. We're pretty much full strength. Touch wood, we've got training tonight, but no injury concerns. Everyone's been at training, which has been lovely. So yeah, we should be full strength on Friday night.
Do you tend to find that people make themselves available more with a cup final on the horizon? Are they all suddenly at training?
100%. Yeah. So Wednesday nights is normally our drop-off night in terms of training. We've got a few who can't attend normally on a Wednesday, and long and behold, it's Wednesday night tonight, and everyone's available. So it's the same for Sunday. We've got a few missing on Sunday, but that's fine. We're going to have to rotate the squad, obviously, with 2 games in 3 days. Like you say, we want to try and finish. We want to win both games. Our aim is the league. We want to finish as high as possible. So, yeah, we'll go. I've got 2 teams in mind for both games. So, see if training changes my mind tonight. But at the minute, we pretty much know what we're going with for both games. So,
how are you playing the keeper situation? Are you sticking with your cup keeper, or are you sticking with your newfound league keeper, or is that a?
Well, to be fair, Lily's played in the County Cup as well. So Lily was she come in as the aim was to give Lily the opportunity in the County Cup and play the odd league game, but she's come in and been superb, to be honest. So yeah, it's a difficult one. Again, play it by we'll see how Friday night goes, and hopefully we don't get no injuries. But Lily will start in goal on Friday night. I don't mind saying that she was going to be in the County Cup anyway, and then we will make a decision about Sunday after how the game goes Friday night.
Yeah, nice. It's just, I suppose it's a good headache to have, right? That you've got good competition in multiple places now. It always seemed like we always just had one keeper, so now it's like good that you've got two keeping each other on their toes. Lastly, how can people get tickets? It's just pay on the gate, isn't it? There aren't any physical pre-orders.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't know. I haven't checked. I think it is. I think it is just pay on the gate. So I don't think you can purchase online like you can through us. So it's we'll expect probably a big crowd. It normally draws in a decent attendance at Coach Road. I think you just alluded to it earlier. A bit of added spice with some of our ex-players moving across to Exeter this year. So there'll be a few more eyes on it than there probably normally is. So just come along. It's 7:15 kickoff at Coach Road, so hopefully we can get a decent crowd in.
Yeah, that's Coach Road in Newton Abbot, right?
Yeah.
Newton Abbot. Yeah, nice, cool. I'll let you go. I think that we've it's run its course. I don't want to keep you too long. Got training in a bit. Like I said, hopefully a light session, but Ryan might have other ideas in his mind. But no, I appreciate you both jumping on. Thank you, and hopefully, I think we're pretty admitting that our coverage of the women's team isn't as great as it should be. And we're looking to increase that. So if anybody's listening or watching and is a keen follower of the women's team and wants to get involved, let us know, and we'll up our output there. But cheers both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely. Cheers. Thank you. Brilliant. Thanks for having us.
And obviously all the best on Friday and Sunday, and then the following Sunday. Cheers.
Cheers.